Today I'm tying up the sour apple leech. This is a leech pattern I like. I mean, it's pretty basic, nothing special. I'm using the 511 size 8 hook with a 4mm slotted tungsten bead in the apple color or light olive. This bead barely fits on this hook, but it works perfect. It works about the right sink rate for me too. I'm going to start with some Semperfli classic wax thread, pale olive thread, and I'm using 12/0 thread. You could use 8/0 thread. I just like the 12/0 because I can tie in and whip finish and stuff like that without a lot of build up. So if I can get away with it, I'm going to use it probably. So I'm going to use that on this fly. If you're a newer fly tyer, I would go with the size 8 thread. It may not look as clean, but you'll have less breakage and things like that that newer fly tyers deal with, that I dealt with when I was a newer fly tyer. So we just need a base of thread on there. They don't need to be pretty. Then I'm going to take an olive zonker strip. This is the 2mm or the 1/16 from Moonlit, and I'm gonna keep that to the side, have it ready, and then I'm gonna take some straggle string. This is their floral green Ryak. I use this on streamers, small streamers and leech bodies quite a bit. I really like the way it comes out. I'm going to tie that in near the head and then just wrap it back. That's going to build the body just a little bit so that when I wrap this forward, it's going to be wrapped just a little thicker. And then in between each step on this fly, I'm going to be doing whip finishes. And I have some reasons for that, but it allows me to put my bobbin rest over here and then use the rotary of my vise to wrap this straggle string. I'm going to wrap it pretty touch and go turns there, so it's no like gaps that show the black hook underneath. Move that bobbin rest out of the way and tie that in. Then we'll cut that off. And now I'm going to take this rabbit, or this squirrel zonker strip, olive color from Moonlit, and I'm going to measure out about how long I want that tail to come off. Usually about the length of the body of this is what you need, maybe a little more. And I'm just going to take that skin, and as I have the hook on the vise on here upside down, I'm just going to push it through the middle of that skin where I want it to be. Then I'm going to pull it off the vise and push that all the way through, out of the way of the vise, and then I'm going to straighten it up and lock it back in. Then I'm going to pull the tail to the back. Pull the rest forward. I'm going to find a spot near the bead. I leave a little bit of zonker past where I'm going to, or the fur, a little past where I'm going to tie it in. I'm just going to throw a very loose one over the top there while pulling it tight. Let's see, there's 3 loose ones, and then I'm gonna just do some tight ones in front, just behind the head there. Then I'm going to take a nice pair of scissors that are pointed. Just cut that as close as you can. There's going to be a little bit of leftover there. That's probably the best I've done in a long time. Then I'm just going to come back over those loose wraps I did and do a few tight ones. As you can see, we're going to have a bright body there. This apple color is kind of muted, but it also is kind of a highlight. It's almost like floral. And I've taken a clip and I pulled a piece, or taken some of the fur off of here and put it in a material clip, and I'm going to do a dubbing loop and bring that in. So that's what I'm doing now. And just before I do that though, I'm going to do a little whip finish. That's going to make sure none of this can come apart. Do a dubbing loop. I'm going to pull a bunch of thread out, make a loop that I'm holding in my finger here. I don't know if you can see that. Then I'm going to just make some wraps around the head here. And then I'm going to throw it around that loop that I'm holding with my finger here. And tie that in, then bring your thread to the front, right behind the bead. Then I'm going to take a dubbing loop spinner and hook it back here behind my finger in the thread. And I usually give it 1 or 2 twists behind my finger and keep my finger in there to hold it open. The reason I give it a couple twists is when I stick my materials in here, that'll cinch up tight when I pull my finger out. So here's my material clip with that fur in it. Locks in there nice. Usually once you get in there, you can push it in a little further in on some spots. And then we're just going to spin it. I usually like to brush it with my finger a little bit as it twists up. That helps none of it bunch up together. Then I usually get my hackle pliers and grab the thread just because it's easier to wrap when I do that. I'm going to turn my fly up like that. As I come over the top, I'm just going to sweep these back, sweep it back, sweep it back, sweep it back every time I come around. Obviously this isn't a Tenkara fly, but it makes a nice size leech that you can tie, or that you can cast on a Tenkara rod. So if you want to fish leeches, even in small streams, if I find a nice deep hole, I'll run a leech through there, and sometimes the biggest fish I catch are in that deep hole coming off this leech. So it's a great thing. It works great on the rivers. Works great on a fly rod too if you're fishing with a fly rod and reel setup. So you can see our fly is basically done here. All we gotta do is whip finish. There you go. This is gonna, on a jig hook, this is gonna ride upside down. So that bright part with the straggle string is gonna be riding on the bottom. You can take some scissors. You can see the squared off end here. You can cut the corners on that, so it's a little more pointed. Doesn't have to be perfect. That way you don't have a big square at the tip of the tail there. But it's a great fly. I love using it. I've been giving it to quite a few people that I know that fish in my area to play around with, and they've done well. Just love this fly. Perfect size for casting on a Tenkara rod. Light leech pattern to cast on a fly rod. I do a lot of fiberglass rods, and even in a small size this can cast well.